Welcome to episode 133 of Drew Sports Crew on this Sunday evening. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in the Wisconsin sports world. And wow, what a win today for Green Bay. And look, I have the Milwaukee stuff on as well, for, of course, the Brewers, where we almost had an NL Central clincher. We are playoff bound, though. I can happily say that. I wanted to be able to say the NL Central champs, but today didn't happen, or yesterday didn't happen to make get that done. But just this Packer game, right, is definitely the main discussion point today. But of course, also the Brewers clinching the playoffs. I'll talk more about the playoffs for them. I'll talk about this episode as well. We have a little bit of the schedule out, not all of it for Major League Baseball's playoffs. So that's what we'll be doing. But I have a plethora of announcements here before we start. Of course, Instagram, X, and TikTok at Drew Sports Crew, and then Facebook and YouTube, Drew's Sports Crew is where you can find that. But wanted to announce this Friday, the betting stuff, of course, all that content will still be available on TikTok or wherever at Drew Sports Crew. But wanted to announce that new weekend series. I say new, but if you remember Drew's College Athlete Spotlight, it's coming back, but with a little twist. Now the Wisconsin Sports Spotlight. So the idea of Drew's College Athlete Spotlight was exactly to highlight, can captivate, or really just highlight what Wisconsin college athletes have done and kind of their contributions and stuff. We had great guests on, and I definitely, enjoyed having those interviews, and I want to bring those back. But we're also going to be having on just individuals who have just who have contributions to Wisconsin sports. And right, with Wisconsin, it's a valuable part, right, of the state's history, right, or just of the state in general. Of course, at the professional level, but then also high school sports are huge here with the WIAA, and that's why I'm pleased to announce that Wisconsin, that I'm going to be having on Mike File, right? That's where I was going with that. High school official there for the WIAA, and I'm really looking forward to that. He's going to be the first guest of the Wisconsin Sports Spotlight, right? But again, Wisconsin having a rich sports history. I just feel the sports spotlight, similar to the college, there's still going to be college athletes on, so consider it a college athlete spotlight, if you will. But just want to highlight, a greater. I don't want to exclude, if you're not a college athlete, again, if you've made great contributions to Wisconsin sports. So again, that's going to be ideally going to be weekly. But again, I really want to focus on having high quality guests, right, with great contributions as well. So I really don't want to force anything too. So just keep that in mind with the episodes. But my goal is to make it weekly. If it happens to be, for every 4 weeks, there's 3 of episodes, right? I'd rather have that than have a fourth one that I feel might not be as great as quality. So just want to throw that out there, and just keep a lookout on that for your feed. It's going to be very similar. And again, betting content. If you love that stuff, don't worry. Instagram stories, TikTok, YouTube shorts, it's all going to be there. The same content as you will. I'm still going to just go through my lineup, and I'm still got my lineup that I am making. I'm going to have Free Flex Friday entries. You're just not going to hear me talk about it, on the episode, that's just how it is. And we're going to move forward, and still going to be continuing to talk sports here on, of course, Sundays and Mondays. And let's go into it here. So we're going to start with the Green Bay Packers. What a win. I started with that, and rightfully so. They're down 17-0 at half. And again, the announcers mentioned it. Week 1, 2018 against Chicago. Felt the same. Nothing was going anybody's way offensively, right? I say Jordan Love, meaning mostly him, but really with AJ Dillon too, it was just not working. Then defense, or really special teams. Rashid Shaheed is a guy to know. A dynasty stash for me personally, right? But special teams touchdown there, and Derek Carr was making right reads, hits Jimmy Graham. But they were moving on all cylinders. But really, Derek Carr going down. What an unfortunate injury, right? We're wishing Derek Carr the best. Sounds like it's an AC sprain. No status yet on him in terms of timetable, but he was out for the rest of the game. They bring in Jameis Winston, and they ended up punting on 5 straight drives. It was unfortunate again for them, right? Considering how well Carr's played this year for that team, who's now 2-1, and again, Chris Olave had himself a day with mainly Derek Carr, 8 for 104, 8 receptions, 104 yards. But my point is the win probability for the Saints was up to 90. Let me get you one. 97.2%, 97.3% rather, for this team. So just crazy win probability for them. Again, Graham kicked it off in the first quarter with a touchdown there, make it 7-0. 7-0 end of one. Rashid Shaheed, I talked about that, 14-0. Then Blake Group with a 25-yard field goal, or Blake Groupie. I've heard it multiple ways there. And then in the fourth quarter, that's when the Packers scored. Nothing else, a shutout by the Packer defense in the second half. And again, this Packers team, without Jair Alexander, without Christian Watson, without David Bakhtiari, without Aaron Jones, and then Devondre Campbell ended up being out for almost all the game, without Elton Jenkins, right? I mean, what this team did with all those injuries. Talk about fighting adversity. I mean, crazy win for Green Bay, and definitely you got to be happy with the results. So far, win of the year for Green Bay after 3 games. I know, but I'll talk about that fourth quarter here. Anders Carlson kicks it off, a 38-yard field goal. And then Jordan Love has a 1-yard run on a nice option, good play call at the goal line. He wants to go for 2, right? Stats, it was weird because you probably would have thought to kick it to make it a 7-point game, but they like the numbers. They go for 2 to make it and they get it then to make it 17-11. So now a touchdown wins the game. Sure enough, Romeo Doubs has a mismatch. They targeted it first play, didn't get it. They go at it again, they get it. Dobbs 8-yard touchdown pass from Love. And then Carlson kicks good. 18-17 is the score, and that's your final. Then as Blake Groupie misses that field goal there that would have won them the game. It was a 47-yarder. Kid's what was he, 5 for 6 to start the year, 6 for 7. Great stuff for him. And I mean, they were showing the media, or they're showing pictures of him after the game, and I was like, okay, come on. We get it. He missed a field goal, but he's had a great year, great start to his year nonetheless. But then let's look at the team stats, right? Usually you can tell, good old football thing, how many first downs, right? Did you win the total yard battle? Did you win the first down battle? Time of possession and or turnover battles. How'd those look? Usually a good indicator if you won. Packers won the first down battle 21-15. They win possession 32 minutes to 27. Right, it was 60 minutes, but it was like 32.5 to 27.5. And then they have 1 turnover compared to New Orleans, who had 0. So point to that. It was like, okay, it's probably a toss-up, and it was, but Packers with a 1-point difference. So that's how that went. But if you saw the post already after Sports Crew, the player of the week, or player of the game rather, for the Green Bay Packers, Rashawn Gary, 3 sacks, his new career high rather. 2 was his original career high. He had himself a day. Definitely took advantage of a matchup against Trevor Penning, right, a former, I believe, first-round pick. But in this matchup, though, for Gary, it was all him in this defense. Again, banged up. They had they still had Quay Walker. They still were able to get some pressure. And Clark was a part of that. Carl Brooks got in there with the pressure. I mean, there was definitely some plays you enjoy. Lucas Van Ness, didn't hear his name at all today. So that was just another thing. It was like, okay, you didn't hear him, but on the receiving side, I'll talk about Love a little bit. Again, he threw the ball 44 times, but you felt a little bit of the hyper targeting we saw with Aaron Rodgers in Jordan Love, right, with Romeo Doubs today. 12 targets for him. There's some reads I felt with Love. Again, 22 of 44, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Look, Love didn't play great today. End of story. It's it felt that it's hard to even say Love did enough for this team to win. It felt like he held the team back a little bit in that first half, especially. But definitely near the end, he did his part and did it enough, and if not, he did more to help them win. But Dobbs again, 5 for 73 with a touchdown. Reed 3 for 63. Reed had 7 targets. Had some drops in there today. Not necessarily a great game for Reed in my opinion. Luke Musgrave had himself a day, 6 for 49. Musgrave and Laporta in the NFC North, both these tight ends are going to be a force to be reckoned with in these upcoming years. They both are phenomenal pass catchers. They do decent work blocking. They're going to be lethal weapons for their respective teams. Dontavian Wicks was 4 for 45. Another nice game for him. 6 targets. Patrick Taylor, 3 for 23. And of course, if you saw the second half, they were getting away from A.J. Dillon. They were, who had 11 carries in this one for 33 yards. He had a 14-yard run. He had a 7-yard run. And then from there was nothing. He has not been good this year at all. It's been unfortunate for Dillon. Keshawn Nixon got in there with a carry. Emmanuel Wilson, Patrick Taylor, all three of those guys had a combined 6 carries. When Jones comes back, I imagine we're going to still see some Patrick Taylor in there, or rather Emmanuel Wilson. Probably Wilson over Taylor at this point. Just was checking the Bears score. 41-10 is what we're looking at here, and the game's ending. So wow. But so Packers will pick up a game on them, and yeah, that's good for Green Bay in the NFC North. But otherwise, yeah, the run game for Green Bay was not good today. They're desperately missing Aaron Jones and Watson, who it sounds like Jones is going to be good to go tomorrow. Or when I say tomorrow, Thursday. And then Watson will be good to go on. Actually, Watson, I'm not too sure about, but with the shorter time between games. But it did sound like with Jones, though, he's going to be good to go Thursday against Detroit. And that's going to be a big one for Green Bay. So that's what I wanted to highlight. Packers against the run. It was sloppy a little bit at times, but it ended up being 3.5 yards per carry for New Orleans. So they ended up doing a really nice job. So I'm pleased with how that turned out. They ended up, it was Derek Carr 13 of 18, Winston 10 of 16. And you might be wondering, like, okay, Winston was 10 of 16. What did he do wrong? Just made some sloppy, reads. Not his rating was 54.8. A lot of checkdowns, a lot of east and west. It seemed like the game plan was a lot more east and west. It was easily locked down there with Winston. Carr, on the other hand, made some deep throws, challenged some Packer defensive backs. I thought Carr looked good. I was pretty impressed with how Carr's looked this year in general. And along with Olave today, who I mentioned was 8 of 104. Michael Thomas was 6 for 50. But other than that, it was pretty limited. Tony Jones, 4 for 21. Jawan Johnson, then 2 for 12. So I was like, okay, not much going on, but yeah, I just found that interesting there. And then on the defensive side for New Orleans, they only had 1 sack today. So again, credits Green Bay's offensive line. So far, decent on the passing side. I mean, they've allowed a decent amount of pressure, but Love has done a great job not taking sacks, I feel. Maybe has more been the thing, but again, Gary had himself a day. I talked about defense, but overall, you got to be happy with this Packer win. It's a great comeback. Team is 2-1, right? Again, they're 1-0 at home. Love to see that. The Vikings are 0-3. The Bears are 0-3, and then Detroit is 2-1. So 2-1, 2-1, 0-3, 0-3. So interesting start in the NFC North this year. Packers have scored the most points in 3 games out of the 4 teams, and they have allowed the least. Love to see that. But again, they have a matchup on Thursday against Detroit. That's on Prime Video, 7:15. That's at Lambeau. So they have a half bye. It's one of these weird weeks, which I did want to talk about. So for Green Bay, it ends up being interesting how these next 3 weeks go. It's Thursday they play, right? Detroit 7:15. That's this Thursday. I'm going to the Brewer game at 3:10. So I'll be back for the game. Don't worry. And then Monday, October 9th, they play Las Vegas. That's the next time they play. That's at Vegas. That game's on ABC even. The lowest ticket price that game, $372. There you go. But so they have like a mini buy there. They have like 10 days off between when they play Detroit and Vegas, back-to-back primetime games. Then they go to the bye week, week 6. So then they're off then. And then they go to Denver in Sunday, October 22nd. So that's a long time away, it feels like. But already some bye weeks coming up here. Just wild. But then they're on Sunday for a good stretch of games. So was that 5 games straight, 5 Sundays straight? They got some Sunday ones. And then they go to Thanksgiving at Detroit. That'll be fun. But that's what the schedule's looking like for Green Bay. And in summary, good win today. A lot of things to work on. Jordan Love, I think this game was huge because we saw Jordan Love is not Mr. Perfect, right? There's going to be some flaws in his game. And we saw that in prior weeks, but there's of course some people who thought like, hey, Love, he's got it right away. And it's like, okay, no, he doesn't, but has the potential to get it all the way, down the road. I feel at least potential to get it together even better. So that's it for the Packer talk. Let's go over to the Milwaukee Brewers, who clinched a playoff spot. Magic number is at 1. I believe the Cubs won again today. So we're going to have to just wait on really the Cubs. The Cubs are going to dictate when the Brewers win, or of course the Brewers can, as they control their own destiny. They just have to win a game. Not to be difficult. And Cubs hang on 4-3 today. It looks like more and more the Cubs could easily be the team there who they play in a 3-game series at home, as I'll talk about that here. But again, Brewers lose today. In summary this week, a historic 12-run inning on Friday, a 12-run second. Josh Donaldson hit another home run. Wild stuff. Yelich had 2 home runs that night. Rowdy Tellez on Saturday. Rowdy Tellez in that game as well on Friday. Clinches the playoff berth for them with a scoreless 9th where he strikes out Jesus Sanchez. Talk about historic. I believe it was one of the first. It was not the first time, or maybe it was. I don't know the stat, but it was the first time in a while or something like that where a position player clinched a postseason berth that was pitching. Hasn't happened in like 50 plus years, though. It was, or some ridiculous number of years. But that's, we'd love to see that, is the moral of the story. But again, that was in the 16-1 win. They lose last Monday. It was like Adam Wainwright's pitching. Just to backtrack, Adam Wainwright's pitching. He's going to throw batting practice, and it was an exciting game. They lose 1-0. Wainwright gets his 200th win. And then they win the next 3. 7-3, 8-2, 6-0. That pitching staff for St. Louis is awful. That was the moral of the story, and that was good to see. And they win 16-1 Friday. They lose 5-4 on Saturday. Joel Payamps has struggled, right? Seems fatigue. Hopefully they keep his innings limited for the next 6 games, as that's all that's left. 6 games in the regular season. And then they lose 6-1 here on Sunday. Not much going on that one. Bats were pretty quiet. And then we have an off day, a well-deserved off day for the Brewers here on Monday the 25th. And then three-game series at home against the Cardinals, and then 3 games against the Cubs, and that's your 2023 regular season. Crazy how we've gotten to that. I'm working on the record prediction challenge. My thought is, in slash theory, again, Cubs are off Monday. I thought they were going to clinch it this weekend, the division. They did clinch the postseason berth. I think the Brewers will clinch it Tuesday. Right? It's just a Cubs loss or a Brewers win. I think they lock it up Tuesday. If they don't, they do it Wednesday. So wanted to throw that out there. And then from there, though, once they have the division locked up, they are at the point in this year already. They can't get the 2 seed. They're not playing for anything from there. So I think we're going to see moderate rest for some guys. So I'm wondering to see what they do in that Cubs series, right? That's not going to matter for the division, but if the Brewers let the Cubs win a little bit, they might not actually have to play them. They might get not St. Louis. Oh no. They might get Arizona, or they might get Miami. And that would be a win for Milwaukee, I feel. I'd rather play those 2 teams than the Cubs. I'd rather play Well, especially if Cincinnati somehow gets in there, you'd rather play them. But just wild to think about all these scenarios. And as we turn the calendar to October here soon, the playoffs, so how it looks, the Brewers are going to host a 3-game series as they're going to be the 3 seed. I'm going to act like they won the division right now, just to give some scenarios here. They're going to play the 6th seed. So how this works is the top 2 out of the 3 division winners get a first round bye into the NLDS. The worst division team, so like the worst best team to win a division, which in this case is going to be the NL Central and the Milwaukee Brewers. They are the 3rd division team. They have the lowest record of the 3 teams who won the division. They get a 3-game series in the wild card round at home against the 3rd wild card team. And then wild card 1 and wild card 2 teams, they square off where wild card 1 hosts it for all 3 games. So the Brewers have 3 straight home games: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, October 3rd through 5th. We don't know when these games will be. We know they're going to be on ESPN. That's all we know. We know that if they play the Marlins, we don't know this, but this is me, speculating. If they play the Marlins, those games will be in the afternoon. There's no reason they would be any time, like they're not going to be a nightcap. Would make sense. If they play Chicago, though, they have every reason to be more of an evening game, as that's going to draw some huge views, right? Cubs Brewers rivalry, Chicago market, right? Totally makes sense. So it really depends for the Brewers on opponent, because they don't necessarily have the weight to make it a night game, as we know. And there's been some weird times for this. So it could be like at 11:30. It could be some terrible time. It's a playoff game, it gets the views, gets the tickets sold, and that's what Major League Baseball wants. So I'd imagine we get something like that. And then the series then would start on Saturday, I believe. So there'd be one off day on Friday, and then get right into it. The NLDS game 1. And the Brewers, if they were to win that series, they would go to LA. Yes, they would be at LA to play the Dodgers for a 5-game series. So we'll see what happens, but the Brewers are going in the postseason. It's going to be exciting. And I'm hoping to be at one of those wild card games, hoping for game 1 for sure, but that's the plan. And also want to note, game times this week, no giveaways. I'll be at the game Thursday, as I mentioned, but they do like the final season seed holder appreciation day, but nothing really going on in giveaways. It's 6:40 on Tuesday, 6:40 on Wednesday, 3:10 on Thursday. That's because of Thursday Night Football. 7:10 on Friday, 6:10 on Saturday, and then 2:10 on Sunday. 2:10 is the universal time there for that last regular season game, in case there are implications in that one, is the plan why they did that. But that is going to be your regular season then. So just crazy how fast the season has come and gone for baseball. Let's do a little wins above replacement report. Can you guess who in wins above replacement? It is William Contreras, right? As Yelich missed some time. And Burns has picked it up, though. So now Burns actually surpassed Yelich. Shocking to see that now. Contreras 3.4 wins above replacement, Burns 3.3, Yelich 3.2, Adames 2.6, and then Woodruff 2.5. So that's what we're looking at right now. Sal Frelick is already number 12 now. He's surpassed some people. Wade Miley's number 7, 2.3 WAR. Crazy to see that. But yeah, Contreras was the player of the week for week 26, and rightfully so. Again, his OPS this year is 824 now, and he's been on fire recently, is what I highlighted, how well he's performed. But yeah, this Brewers team you're excited for the postseason. The pitching has came together. The hitting has picked it up too. Carlos Santana has done well amongst others. I talk about Contreras, talk about Yelich. Just as a whole, Mark Canha, right, has been phenomenal with this club. He's batting 300 with the team with an 842 OPS. That was a winning trade, and hoping this team could do great things in October, and that's going to wrap it up here. And again, going through the schedule this week, Journey to Million, right? We'll talk about week 3, preview week 4. We'll go through the team player picks. Jared called Raheem Mostert having a big day. It was wild, but we're not sure when that's going to be live and what day rather, and I'll keep you all posted on that. And then, of course, the Wisconsin Sports Spotlight. Looking forward to starting that off this weekend, or later, near the end of this week. You're hoping Mike File can make it there for this weekend, but again, having a guest and stuff, we'll see. Maybe I'll have someone else on, and I'll keep you all posted on that. I'll schedule it there on YouTube is how I like to do it. So again, subscribe there, Drew Sports Crew on YouTube, and then at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok. That's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.